It was the 50th anniversary of a kind and compassionate king, a ruler, a monarch that was beloved by everybody. And he decided that for his 50th anniversary, he wanted to commission a brand new crown. And he searched the world to try to find the best silversmith who could make the most beautiful, magnificent crown. And he finally found somebody who was an unbelievable craftsman. He had golden hands. And he calls the craftsman, he calls the silversmith in, he sits him down and he says to him, I want the most beautiful crown you've ever made. Spare no money. Design the most intricate and beautiful crown that man has ever seen. And they talked back and forth and back and forth. And finally, the craftsman agreed. And he said, listen, I'm going to need a certain amount of money for the gold and for the silver, for the diamonds and the rubies and the jewels and the emeralds. You have to give it to me. I'll buy the material. And then you'll pay me for the final product when I finish making the crown. The king said, no problem. How long will it take? He said, it'll take about 2 months. The king goes and he gives him a tremendous wad of cash, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the fellow leaves. On his way out, he realizes he has so much cash in his pocket. He says, you know what? I don't have to start working exactly today. Let me take 1 or 2 days to relax. I'm going to be making so much money. I'm going to be making such serious commission. And he books himself in the finest hotel and he orders the finest meal with the finest wine. And he eats a delicious dinner. Then he goes out and he parties. And the problem is that he never stops. And he buys himself new clothing and he goes to this event and he goes to that entertainment. And slowly but surely the days pass by and the wad of cash in his pocket becomes smaller and smaller. A week before the crown was due, he gets a message from the king that the king is eagerly anticipating seeing the crown. And his heart stops. He hasn't started on it. But worse than that, he's depleted most of the cash. What's he supposed to do? The king's going to kill him. Off with his head. And he decides the following. He goes and he designs a model, a miniature model of the crown. Gorgeous. And he sinks 24 hours a day for the next week straight. And he designs the most incredible woven gold and silver with tiny little emeralds and rubies and jewels. It is absolutely magnificent. It's stunning. It's radiant. And when the day comes, quaking in his boots, he comes before the king. And he's got a small little wooden, shiny mahogany box. And the king says, what's with the crown? He goes, I got it. The king says, something doesn't seem right, but what do you have in there? And he opens up the box and he shows it to the king. And on one hand, he takes the king's breath away. He's never seen anything so beautiful. But the king says, are you making a mockery out of me? It's this little tiny crown and I have a larger head. And the man breaks down and he tells the king everything that he's done, how he spent the money and how he wasted his time. And all he had left was enough to buy resources and raw materials to make this little tiny crown. But if the king will invest in him and give him some more money, in a very short period of time, he can make the magnificent crown that the king actually deserves, rightfully so. And on one hand, the king was very angry at him, but on the other hand, he saw the beauty of that little tiny miniature crown, and he saw the potential of a larger crown. He said, you know what? I'm going to let you live, and I'll let you continue your mission. But this time, it better come through. You know, this is really an analogy to the past year. The last Rosh Hashana, Rabbi Shlomo said to us, I want you to be in my jewel, says Rabbi Shlomo, a jewel in my crown, says Rabbi Shlomo. I want you to be magnificent and amazing, and I'm going to give you all the resources so you could be a Pa'er v'Hadar, you could be a Mekadesh Shem Shemayim and live your life in the most beautiful way. And now we wasted it. We took all the resources and all the talents and we didn't use them the way we were supposed to. And 1 week is left until we have to present that incredible crown, the mission of this past year. And we're quaking in our boots. We realize the mistake that we've made. But we have 1 week left to make a magnificent miniature of that crown. We have 1 week left to invest with all the koiches and the talents that Rabbi Shalom gave us, that our davening should be upgraded, our learning should be more intense, our Bein HaMilch Chavera should be something which is special, so that at least when Rosh Hashanah comes, we could stand before the Rabbi Shalom and say, we don't have a whole year, we don't have a full-size crown, but look at this miniature, and look how beautiful it could be, and hopefully Rabbi Shalom will say, okay, I got it. You could continue to live, and I'll invest in the upcoming year. Let's not squander the last week, the week that we can make something magnificent and beautiful, something that we could actually stand in front of the Rabbi Shalom, something that's radiant, and something that's shiny, and something that's magnificent. And Be'ezer Hashem, the Rabbi Shalom will say, okay, I understand. I'm going to give you a second chance.